Welcome to my video about how to do provisional cast on. To do the provisional cast on, you'll need some scrap yarn that's not your main working yarn, a crochet hook approximately the same size as your knitting needle, and your knitting needle to cast onto. First of all, make a slip knot and put it onto your crochet hook. Then hold your knitting needle in your left hand and grab the end of the yarn. You don't need a very long end, by the way, just enough so you can grab onto. Make sure that the working yarn that goes to your ball goes up behind the knitting needle. And you're going to take your crochet hook in front of the needle, grab that yarn, and pull it through the slip knot. And you've made your first stitch. Now you need to make sure your working yarn is always behind the needle. Grab the yarn again, pull it through, make another stitch, move it around behind the needle, and just for the American / English knitters among you, I will hold my yarn in the right hand now. So now you're going to wrap it around that needle again, the crochet hook again, I mean, pull it through, and you're just going to keep going and making sure you go around the knitting needle from behind and then around the hook until you have enough cast on stitches on your knitting needle. Try not to make these too tight. If you make them too tight, then you're going to have a hard time knitting into them after. Once you have enough cast on stitches on your needle, you're just going to chain a few stitches into the end and pull a loop through your last one that's pretty big. This is just to hold it. And then you can just cut the end of your scrap yarn so you don't have that to deal with. And take your crochet hook out. Now you can knit your first row into this provisional cast on row with your main yarn. There I go. The first row has been knit into. I'm going to keep going and make a little swatch so I can show you how to pick up those stitches after you're done your piece and you're ready to use the provisional cast on stitches. Alright, so I've knit a little swatch here that represents the project, whatever it is that you're making. And sometimes you use a provisional cast on just to make a folded hem, so it could only be this long before you're ready to take those stitches and make them live again. So here's our provisional cast on edge. And turn this over, and so what you do is you pull on this yarn and release those stitches, and as you release them, you put them back onto a needle. Okay, so here we go, ready to do the first one. Here's my first stitch. So you could put it on the needle first. Try to put the right leg of the stitch in front if you can, so it's all ready to be knit into. I mean, if you accidentally pull one off before you get your needle in there, not a big deal. It's probably, it's not going to go anywhere right away, especially if you're using a wool or a natural fiber yarn that's got some grab to it. But it would be a little easier to get it with the right leg in front if you can put your needle into the stitch first. Those are all my cast on stitches. I got all 8 stitches back on my needle, and now I'm ready to go. And that's how you do provisional cast on. Thank you for watching my tutorial. Please check out my website for other stitch tutorials, great knitting patterns, and more. Happy knitting!